Somewhere, in a climate-controlled vault, millions of taxpayer dollars have effectively been turned into digital ghosts. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at something that operates entirely in the shadows. We're talking about massive amounts of public health data just vanishing. It isn't just about some missing files on a server. It's about the very foundation of how we understand our health, and the quiet, sudden removal of information that, well, you and I actually paid for.
For decades, we've just assumed our health research was transparent. You were told that every safety study, especially the publicly funded ones, is a public record. It's a pillar, really, of the health mandates and the medical guidance you follow every single day. But without that transparency, that foundation of public trust just starts to crumble.
And that brings us here. Hidden possibilities suggest that federal agencies have suddenly, almost overnight, broken decades of established precedent just to keep certain truths in the dark. Perspectives indicate that studies tracking the safety of the exact vaccines sitting in your medicine cabinet right now, they are being intentionally blocked from the light of day.
We're talking about a massive scale here. Millions of patient records were analyzed, a literal treasure trove of real-world outcomes. Yet the conclusions were internally deemed too broad for your eyes to see. Think about that for a second. For the first time in recent history, the government is moving to withdraw science that it already paid for.
Some believe this isn't really about data management at all. No, it's about a fundamental shift in the identity of our health institutions. When the rulebook changes behind closed doors and the priority shifts from public access to institutional preservation, it completely changes the entire dynamic between citizens and the agencies designed to protect them.
While officials claim this data is just underlying and not for public distribution, experts inside the system are starting to sound the alarm of outright censorship, and that's a heavy word. Imagine a world where the safety signals for routine things like shingles and COVID shots are treated with the secrecy of classified military intelligence. It's chilling. And now, we've got a full-on lab war. The Health and Human Services Department is locked in an intense internal battle over what even constitutes truth in a laboratory. Adding to the mystery, the New York Times recently uncovered that these suppressed studies, they actually found that serious side effects were incredibly rare.
Which creates this terrifying, confusing paradox. Why in the world would the government hide data that actually proves the vaccines are safe? Hidden possibilities suggest the goal isn't necessarily to protect you from a virus, but maybe to protect the narrative of the new leadership. When safety data goes dark, speculation runs absolutely wild.
Meanwhile, the real-world impact is hitting hard. Under the current administration, funding for vaccine research is being slashed to the bone. At the exact same time, the immunization schedule for children is being completely reconsidered. Yet the raw data that should drive those massive decisions, it remains totally locked away.
What if the suppression of this data is really just the first domino falling in a much larger collapse of public trust? If you feel the weight of this silence, make sure to check the description below for the primary sources they allegedly tried to bury. We are literally entering an era where taxpayer-funded science is treated like a classified weapon.
And this isn't just internet rumor. Former CDC officials are coming out and warning that this level of censorship is extremely concerning for our collective future. But as history shows us, the truth always has a distinct way of leaking through the cracks of even the tightest federal blockade. So here is our first major revelation. The hidden truth isn't that the vaccines are dangerous. Actually, scratch that, it's almost the opposite. The theory is that the new administration is hiding their safety to justify ending them. By blocking studies showing side effects are rare, they create this dark vacuum of information where fear can just effortlessly grow. They are intentionally starving the public of the very data that would settle the debate once and for all, a complete data drought. Some believe this is a highly calculated, strategic move designed to quietly reduce the immunization schedule without triggering a massive scientific revolt. While the FDA stays completely silent, we're all left grappling with a profound question. Who does the science actually belong to, if not the people who paid for it? The health secretary, a longtime skeptic according to sources, is now the sole gatekeeper of the world's most sensitive medical archives. This isn't just about one vaccine anymore, it's about the entire mechanism of how we verify reality. Perspectives indicate that the panic premium in the markets is already reacting to this information blackout. So let me ask you, do you believe the government has the right to hide safety data if it challenges their policy? Type yes or no right now. Because hidden possibilities suggest that this censorship won't stop here. It'll eventually extend to entirely new threats, like the rising Hantavirus. Which brings us to the second major revelation. The timing of this is terrifying.
We are blocking data on old vaccines at the exact moment we're facing a new, unchecked virus with no cure and no established treatments. It's like we're deliberately blinding ourselves right as a massive storm hits.
Take the Hantavirus, for instance. Recent data indicates the mortality rate has surged to an alarming 38%. 38%. And we are flying blind. While the government is busy hiding safety data for the past, they seemingly have absolutely no answers for our future.
To put that into perspective, under normal regulations, a viable vaccine for this new threat could be 10 years away. 10 long years. But the very infrastructure needed to develop it, it's being dismantled by the exact same people hiding our current safety data.
Public health officers are now actively issuing warnings about expanding risk zones, while our surveillance is effectively blinded by policy. The intersection of politics and pathogens has created a perfect storm that economists are barely whispering about. If the public loses faith in the data entirely, they will just self-lock down. And the economy? It will freeze in a matter of days.
So you see, this isn't just a simple health crisis. It is a crisis of the very identity of science itself. We are replacing objective, peer-reviewed openness with deep, structural, institutional secrecy.
And that leads us directly to the third and final major revelation. According to critics, the real hidden truth here is that the government isn't afraid of the data being wrong. They're afraid of it being right. Think about it. If the massive studies definitively prove the vaccines are safe, then the entire platform of the current health secretary just collapses. So they choose the silence of the vault over the safety of the public.
Supreme Court Justice Gorsuch recently noted that the incapacity to realize the humanity of people we disagree with is what really keeps us awake at night. When we suppress data to win political arguments, we lose the essential ability to have a conversation based on shared facts. And honestly, that erosion is way more dangerous than any virus.
We must demand the light. We must demand the data we've already paid for. If this explainer helped you see the bigger picture, subscribe to join us in the search for verifiable truth. Because in the end, America's biggest enemy isn't a pathogen, it is itself. Look closely at the world around you. The truth is there, even if it's currently being suppressed.